Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night.
We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god, yes!
But the barrage! Make sure they can't even follow up afterwards.
And Wash is down 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire.
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
100 and 3 with the primal rage.
Experience tranquility.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Transcendence tier feature match. Tonight, we bring you a battle of two teams. One is Decapi-taters, who come in at 4-0 at the top of their group, and Rat Society, currently sitting at 1-3. It's the last match of Stage 1 for both of these teams, so the question remains, will Rat Society be able to scavenge up a meal of potatoes tonight, or will the Decapi-taters become the exterminators? Those are the questions we have tonight. And here to answer those with me is Rudy. How you doing, Rudy?
Doing good, man. I'm not sure if I can answer those questions for sure until we jump into the game here. But given the track record of these two teams, there is pretty clearly a favorite to win in this match. But hey, this is Overwatch. You'll never know until we actually get into the server, get into the game. The lobby is here, it's ready, but we're just gonna have to start the game to find out for sure.
We've seen fantastic teams, fantastic matches on stream, all of Stage 1, some fantastic upsets as well. Another one could certainly be on the horizon here. Rat Society is absolutely no slouch, and they are coming off of a big win last week, taking down Kent State Varsity. Decapi-taters right now, again, sitting at 4-0 at the top of their group, yet to be defeated this stage, actually only losing one map so far as well. So Decapi-taters are looking currently dominant, but you can't underestimate anybody at this level of play, Rudy. We've seen it. It's a tale as old as time. Once you reach a certain level of play, there are just certain moments where certain players can just get on their hero and they can just absolutely carry a map.
Yes, for sure. I think that is very important to know. But also, you mentioned the fact that Rat Society did take home the win last week to Kent State, but also in the week before that, Decapi-taters faced that same Kent State team and got a clean 4-0 victory over that same team that caused the Rat Society so much trouble. I think Rat Society there was a very close game with Kent State. I think it was a 2-1, and then one of the maps was a draw as well. So very close game versus a very clean game against the same team. So the stats speak for themselves, obviously, but obviously we're going to be going into the first map here pretty soon, and I hope to see a closer game than what the scoreline suggests or what the predictions suggest.
Yeah, the predictions were definitely lopsided. I mean, when you look at the Decapi-taters roster, they certainly have a roster of Trank veterans. Of course, you got to look at Smugs, who's a two-time champion and the current and the Season 2 MVP as well. Then you also have to look at players like Nagisa and Orsted. Orsted also himself being a former MVP here in Tranquility. So they have a lot of talent on the team. And pretty much for all of Rat Society, they're brand new to Tranquility, so nobody knows what to expect. But if there's ever a time to have your big show in Tranquility and big show up in a tournament, it's when you're on that feature match and you can make that statement against one of the top teams in the tournament. So Rat Society, best of luck to you. Here you go, and here's your opportunity. But we head first to Lijiang Tower, and it looks like we are going to start off on. I want to say it looks like we are starting off on Garden here.
Yeah, gardens for sure.
Mhm.
It's going to be actually. Oh wait, hold on.
Oh, no,
I'm
this
not
is night
sure.
market. Night
Not
market.
market. Never
Nope.
mind. I was about to say I got sort of confused with the names there. It is going to be night market. This is going to be a portion of Lijiang that's very diverse in terms of which team composition you can play here. It looks like Rat Society is going to be going for that Reinhardt composition. Meanwhile, on the side of Decapi-taters, they're going to go for the Wrecking Ball with the Brigzen backline, hopefully to get some hacks up with Karabitas on that Sombra as well. But it's going to be straight to point for Rat Society with that Sim TP.
And straight to point for Rat Society, getting right in with the Sim TP. A very different look from the Decapitators coming out on the Wrecking Ball here. Smug's already rolling through Rat Society, but it looks like Rat Society will set up their presence on point first as Decapitators look to set up angles to try to poke down this Brawl comp. Right now, Rat Society is in firm control of this point, however, and the initial fracas is underway in the back of the point. It looks like Jazz gets taken very low by Orsted on the Tracer, but is not taken down as the first cap will go to Rat Society, but the fight will continue as Charybdis finds the first blood of the match, taking down Jazz as well, and the Decapitators are slowly whittling through all of Rat Society here as the DNA finds Skirk, and that's going to go ahead and looks like it ends this fight here for the Decapitators. The Rat Society did start taking up some progress here, Rudy.
Yeah, 70% for them, so not too bad. You can't be too mad about that. But I feel like that team fight was more about a disconnect between the main tank and the main support. Obviously, Jazz and Do What I Want, both on very different, both very separated on that point. One of them was dealing with a Sombra in the backline. The other one was dealing with the Wrecking Ball straight up the point. But that's going to be a pulse bomb from Orsted, going to bait out the Immortality field. But the window in response from Jazz is going to keep them back for now.
Pulse Bomb finding a stick, but not finding a consequential target there, as Charybdis is taken down by the Flame Strike and Do What I Want through that amplification matrix. But the kills are now switching over towards the Decapitators, keeping one small presence on the point as the beat is dropped by Skirk. We see Voltage taken down as well. No Zenyatta now on the point, but Nagisa has popped that rally, but there's now no healers for the Decapitators, so they're relying purely on the DPS to clutch up right now. As we take a look at Charybdis trying to find the kill, Smugs with the finish on the Jazz. Charybdis right now trying to put the damage into the Lucio, keeping the point in the favor of Decapitators. Even if they lose this point, it's been a heck of a stall here, Rudy.
It has been very well. It is going to be Karabitas and Dene that both go down right off the bat here. So I think the point will flip. Yeah, it does flip on the side of Rats, but they had to give up a lot of their ultimates in order to do so. Lifeline actually going to be making the switch over to the Torbjorn here, which is actually a pretty fun hero. He's going to manage to take a lot of pressure off the back line, maybe keep away Orsted as well. Well, that's a big kill to start things off.
Yeah, losing a Baptiste early is brutal. Orsted finds the kill on the Bark for me. So that's 2 down early for Rat Society here as Decapitators look to pressure the point right now. But a big Earth Shatter from Do What I Want and a pause. Looks like we have a bit of a disconnect coming in.
Tactical pause, DNA hitting the pause switch as soon as they get shattered. I mean, Rats are looking in a pretty decent place to, I think, at least take the kill onto Nagisa here, who's on the Brig. I don't know if I can't tell if they were affected by the shatter or not, but it is definitely the Diva that is out as well. It's actually the main tank for Decapitators that got disconnected here, so we'll wait for them to rejoin shortly. But other than Smugs, who I assume was in the backline during that engagement, they don't Decapitators don't have too many other ultimates to be able to rely on once everything comes back online here. Meanwhile, Do What I Want is obviously engaging forward onto the back line on top of the shadow, but they're also discorded, which means that they're going to be poked down a lot by the incoming damage, and I don't think Jazz is available there for that healing. So it's kind of going to be a toss-up whoever gets this point flip, but currently it is in the favor of Rat Society as of right now.
Yeah, Rat Society right now looks to be in control of this fight, and it's going to be even harder with Smugs coming back from a disconnect. So Smugs is working his way back right now. Smugs actually, I believe, had his mines as well. So that is a tough situation for that's a tough situation right there. Losing a big ultimate for the Decapitators is going to hurt them a lot in this fight. Right now, taking a look here, basically what you've seen is do what I want is doing what he wants as he just earth shatter through DNA there. So it's an interesting spot right now. We see two very different approaches, Rudy. A lot of times on this point, you see teams come at this with that Symmetra brawl. That seems to be probably the most common thing that you would see on this point. However, Decapitators giving it a different look, and that appears to be the situation that we're looking at here with Decaps as they get a Smugs is back actually, so it looks like we're about to get back underway. But both teams are getting ready. It looks like as Smugs finishes loading back into the game. But it's kind of like I said, these spots are very interesting though. When you have these two very different comps, Decapitators looking for tons of angles, and Rat Society looking to just rush through the front line.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing do what I want to actually back off. Unfortunately, the Discord orb was too much, and now Carabitas is actually going to be pounding them from the back line. Unfortunately, will get melted down by Nagisa on that main support role. Transcendence coming out from Voltage B to try to keep their team alive in the back line. Skirt goes down? Okay.
They were trying to roll out of it, but that did not work out the way they were hoping, I'd imagine. So Rat Society looking for the retake right now, but Decap sitting at about 80%. Smugs looking for an opportunity to roll through the front line here, but it looks like what is approximately high noon for Bark for me as he pushes onto the point here through Garden. The point is about to be taken here, and it is. Rat Society takes control of the point again. DNA along with the backline of the Decapitators pushing up through the main chokehold, while Smugs looks to roll in as well. Lifeline setting up here on the turret as well. So lots of action going on as we see these teams continue to jockey for favorable position.
Yeah, it's going to be, two picks, however, on the side of Decapitators. That was great. I was about to say Rat Society definitely had the upper hand there with the ultimates that they used, because it was actually, no, sorry, the Decapitators had the upper hand because it was actually Rat Society that burned the two ultimates, the the Cassidy ult, and also the window to be able to take control of that point. But now it is just the lone diva here just trying to get as much presence on this point as possible, but it's going to be the picks from DNA and the remake. Why not? Might as well lay that down as well, and that's going to be a clean sweep for Decapitators.
Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a mic problem there, actually, believe it or not. Appreciate you stepping in, Rudy, nonetheless. But no, that was
fine. Don't worry.
Fantastic attack at the end there from Decapitators. Decapitators' attacks certainly seemed decisive. Once they had a favorable opportunity, it seems like they dove right in. But Rat Society did not make it easy on them. Even despite the disconnect there, I still have to say Rat Society definitely made that one close. So if that is any indication with how this match is going to go tonight, Rudy, I think we're absolutely in for a good one.
Can we just appreciate the Reaper skin pick for Carabitas, the fact that they're facing off against the Rat Society? He is the king of rats. He will show them who is truly boss in this battle here with this pick. But both sides are actually going to be going for the 6-man dive rush here. Actually, no. Smugs is on the Reinhardt. So they're going to be going with the rush with the Reinhardt versus the 6-man Winston composition with the Moira Lucio here. Two pretty similar compositions, but very different in how they approach their rushes.
Very different for sure. And Nagisa unfortunately taken down by Squirtle, but we do have a turnaround here. But both down now. We see both healers now down for Decapitators, but they are continuing to press in nonetheless. They get a big hack from Orsted, and they're getting the kills despite having no healers. Are they potentially clutching this out? They do, and they get the point, Rudy. That's an impressive attack by the Decapitators.
Yeah, it was for sure. I mean, they're going to be able to take this point off of purely the self-sustain from the Sombra and the Reaper. They're being able to heal themselves off, obviously, with the damage, and Sombra's able to teleport out whenever they're too low. So it is going to be Rat Society now having to find their way back onto the point. Going to grab a mega health pack just to top themselves off and do what I want. He's searching for an opportunity to jump in here.
Looking for an opportunity to do what I want. Didn't find it there as the window is invested from Voltage. Voltage is a very potent aim, being a GM hit scan, but not finding any kills himself. But the Decapitators are working through it. But a big stick onto Orsted from Lifeline. We see the sound barrier is invested now by Nagisa as they're looking to clutch this spread out. Caribitas goes in with the Death Blossom and finds two. It looks like the self-destruct. Unfortunate when you have that Wraith up. You hate to see going down to that, unfortunately for Charybdis, but the damage is done for the Decapitators, sitting at 60% now, Rudy.
Yeah, and they're switching, which I think is the right call. Charybdis is actually just causing them so much damage because he can just chunk down that Winston so fast despite the constant heals from the Moira. So they're going to be going to more of an Orisa-based composition. Orisa's obviously going to be much chunkier than the Winston to be able to survive here, but also going to mean that they're going to have a lot more trouble just pushing into point. However, they don't have too much trouble as they are on this little doorway here now.
They're on the pushing into the doorway. Here we go. But the EMP, it gets 3 of Rat Society, but Skirt does a fantastic job with that sound barrier, and they're able to push back Decapitators.
Ooh.
Skirt finds a couple as Lifeline leads the charge into the point, and Rat Society looks to finally turn this thing around, but it's going to be a 99% right now for the Decapitators as Voltage ends up paying with his life.
The flip will come through though. That was some great heroics from Skirt. Obviously the beat helps them survive that Sombra EMP, but also gets the boop onto, I believe it was Charybdis that they got the boop onto. So great stuff coming out from there. Also got another pick as well. So definitely some DPS Lucio coming out on the side of Skirt here. Now they have a great opportunity to be able to hold onto this point much more clearly now that they have the Orisa to be putting in that long range damage. Orsted has actually moved over to the Hanzo, going to be able to now burst down the Orisa shield so much easier and actually gets a pick onto Lifeline. That's going to be huge for them pushing in.
It's going to be a big kill there. Orsted, though, finds Lifeline, and Orsted right now going crazy on the Hanzo. Sound barrier now from Nagi. Going to free up some space here for the Decapitators as Squirtle is demeched. The fight rages on here on the point on Lijiang Gardens, but Squirtle finds the remech kill onto Nagi. Losing a healer now for the Decapitators is painful, as Squirtle right now putting in a lot of work right now on this D.Va. And we see plenty of kills right now going the way of Rat Society and Do What I Want leading the charge on the Orisa and Squirtle as well. Great work there from the front line of Rat Society, and they managed to hold on to the point here, but we're at 60% now, so getting close to last fight here, Rudy.
Yeah, and let's just look at the ultimates. You have a huge ultimate coming online for Lifeline here. Actually, that Mei ultimate is going to be able to cause so much pain. Not much in terms of ultimates to be able to be used in defense of that on the side of Decapitator. So getting kind of scary here, especially now as the percentage approaches 75%, but Nagisa goes down.
Nagisa goes down. That's brutal right there for the Decapitators. We see Smugs push in, but the big kill from Lifeline and Skirt is going to open things up for Rat Society. And Orsted sitting there, the lone archer right now, not really able to do anything as the stagger is painful on DNA. And Decapitators right now looking at dire straits as they're going to have to contest here. And it's going to be a tough contest as Smugs rolls in on the Wrecking Ball, gets the overtime clock ticking. Can try to get back in, and he does. He looks for the opportunity to pile drive, does not, throws in the shield as Rat Society closes off one side of the point with Mei. Smugs rolls back in, and here comes DNA as well. The tanks are back in for the Decapitators. Smugs is taken down. Charybdis very close to that copy. He's going to be looking more than likely for that D.Va, and he finds it. We see the copy now from Charybdis trying to build his way up to that bomb. We see Voltage get Squirtle demech, and actually a huge eat there on some of that ult from Charybdis on D.Va, and the momentum suddenly shifting in the favor of the Decapitators as Orsted finds a second kill, Rudy. Here we go, but Rat Society turning around. This fight is far from over.
It's far from over. The Lifeline is just holding on to the point consistently with this Mei, able to heal themselves up as well. Facing off against the two tanks on the side of the Decapitators. Voltage does get that kill on to Do What I Want. Won't be able to do what you want if you're sitting in spawn as well. But Lifeline is still putting in the work here. Mei ultimate just to be able to secure even more kills. And this pick is coming in so clutch. Bark for me back on that Torbjorn as well. And I think it's only Smugs left here on the point here. It will be frozen up. Oh, the shields actually do come in to save them a bit of time, but I don't think anybody from Decapitators can come back. It is going to be the point flip over to Rat Society, and they are not out of this map just yet.
Far from it. I have to say, a classic Lijiang Garden moment there, seeing how that map went down here, Rudy.
Yeah.
Gotta give it to Rat Society on a fantastic defense there, putting Decapitators now in a situation where they got to clutch out Control Center. Rat Society again looking for the upset. A lot of people predicted against them tonight, and they're 1-1 now on Lijiang. So you gotta love this situation for Rat Society. Definitely making a statement here that they will not be overlooked. They will not roll over for this match, and really just this is why this is how the Rats took over New York. Rudy, they're very hardy.
Pretty soon they're going to be electing their own people to office and stuff like that, given how much their population has grown.
Yeah, they're pretty much already there. Anyways, let's move on. Smugs is looking for an opportunity from the White Room as the double shield comp is, I'm sorry, the Orisa Diva now from Do What I Want and Rat Society, but Orsted finds the first kill on Disturt as Smug swings the rocket hammer through, but Orsted's beam is at full charge, and Orsted's beam is very honed in right now on the Rats, and they are being wiped out by Decapitators, and first take will go to Decaps.
Yeah, there's just going to be so much damage coming out from this Symmetra Junkrat DPS lineup that Decapitators have going on for them, and I don't think any amount of tankiness from your Orisa is going to be able to do that. I want to actually move it over to the Reinhardt. Has a much stronger shield, it's going to have a much easier time pushing in, but Jazz is out of the equation already.
Jazz is absolutely out of this one. That's brutal, losing your Baptiste this early, and there goes the other healer as well. Lifeline trying to find a way to turn it around, but is taken down by DNA as DNA leads forward on that Sigma as Smugs going in real deep there. DNA tries to escort them out, and they barely do. Gets out with about 150 health. And the window, an aggressive window as Rat Society is pushing this right back. Voltage very low as he gets up in the sky. Charybdis on this Junkrat, gonna use the Riptire. Riptire is big, finds Jazz and D-Max Squirtle as well, and that's gonna turn it, despite the handling the aggression well, is the Decapitators. Those fights are hard to take, Rudy. Decapitators did a very good job.
That was almost kind of like a bait from Decapitators. Smugs going in, actually giving Jazz the confidence to pop down the window, but what they didn't know is they were running into both a window and a Junkrat tire from the opposing team. Now 60% for Decapitators, looking very comfy with a few more ultimates, including Symmetra Wall and Gravitic Flux here. I don't think catches anybody. Actually catches the Torbjorn. Yeah.
And it looks like Earthshatter was in 2 from Smugs, but it didn't find anything. But it doesn't matter. The damage is still coming in for the Decapitators.
Yeah, and they still got that Symmetra Wall and the beat to work with here as well. And now 82%. I think Rat Society is fishing for answers here to deal with this. I'm surprised they haven't moved on to the Junkrat themselves, given how prevalent it is in this map, and it would definitely help them move forward here to be able to move past this wall and this that span from the Torbjorn.
They're very close to having 4 answers right now with 4 ultimates on the hook, but they haven't been able to find a way to push through. They just get to the point just in time, but DNA eliminates Skirt already. So it's a tough spot right now for Rat Society, but here comes the amplification matrix from Voltage. They see the self-destruct from Squirtle, not finding any targets, and the Blizzard as well, now invested from Lifeline. So all the ultimates, all the Qs are being pressed right now for Rat Society as they look to turn it around. But Orsted's beam is spitting that high power right now as the Riptire is now in, but taken down by Do What I Want with a fantastic Flame Strike. Orsted again at full power, but that full power doesn't do good enough when you're in the spawn room. And finally, Rat Society gets a point flip.
Yeah, nice May ultimates from Lifeline there to be able to isolate Smugs and get the rest of the team going from there. But, ooh, look at this, a little bit of a cheeky May wall now. This May is actually going to be so good now on the defensive side as opposed to, being the attacking ones, because they're able to, fall back and such. And Do What I Want is going to have this Shatter, the only ultimates available on their side. But 2 tanks online for Decapitators in just a bit, as well as the wall, the window from Voltage. So they have a lot to work with going into this team fight.
They do. They have to feel pretty confident going in, but the wall is on Smugs, and it's a tough one there. As Smugs gets booped into the brunt of Rat Society's brawl, but we see a huge lift from DNA, bringing all of Rat Society very low as he lifts 4 of the team there, and they continue to push in now with Charybdis on the Cassidy, looking for any opportunity to get some damage in, finds the May, finishes the May as well. That's a big kill for Charybdis. Self-destruct finds DNA, but the Earth Shatter takes down one of Rat Society there, trying to stabilize out. But Squirtle, again, finds a couple of kills to really get Rat Society back in the game. Squirtle has been coming up big so far tonight here.
Yeah, a bunch of hero plays on the side of Rat Society, but what's keeping them all together is the consistent lifeline support on the Mei here. And now, Decapi-taters, 20% left. They got almost nothing to work with. DNA is actually going to switch over to the D.Va themselves, potentially to be able to deal with this Mei ultimate that's about to come online for Lifeline. I keep forgetting it's called Blizzard for some reason. I just keep saying Mei ultimate, but Voltage goes down super early, yeah.
That's a brutal, losing your Baptiste early is very painful. But here comes the Deadeye from Charybdis. Only finds Skirt, but that's a big kill as Skirt has been critical for Rat Society tonight. Orsted now on the Hanzo trying to find some kills like they were on the Symmetra. But all the kills right now, the kill feed is pure red and the kill feed is pure Rat Society as Rat Society comes in and says, no, we will not bow down to the favorites, and they take Lijiang Tower, go up 1-0 in this series.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Skirt with the play of the game. I think this is the beat, boop, and the kill on that second point right there. Yeah, he gets the beat, gets the boop. It was onto Charybdis. I thought for some reason he got the D.Va there, and obviously finishes off Smug. But obviously Skirt doing some fantastic stuff. Lifeline on that Mei, literally the lifeline of this team, because I felt like if they had not gotten those two critical blizzards on both on point number 2 and point number 3, Control Center and Gardens, this series would have ended like almost immediately on Garden, in my opinion. I think Lifeline on that Mei really was giving Smugs and the rest of the Decapi-taters a really hard time having to play up against those Mei walls, and obviously Blizzard DNA switching over to the D.Va just, I would assume, just to try to deal with how powerful the Blizzard was, but obviously giving a little bit less of attention to their backline as well. So really cool that Rat Society was able to find this first map win, and I think this series is going to be a lot closer than some people might have expected it to be.
Rat Society looking to make a statement here, and there's no better statement than upsetting what a lot of people perceive to be one of the top teams in Transcendence tier. So we got to see if Decapi-taters can turn it around, or if Rat Society continues to pile on here as we head next to Hanamura. Again, 2CP, it's going away, and I think a lot of people are pretty darn happy about it, but Hanamura is one of those maps that tends to be well appreciated. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think Hanamura is definitely the best 2CP map in the game. I think a lot of people will agree with you there. It's unfortunate that we won't be seeing it anymore when Overwatch 2 comes out shortly, but for now we can appreciate it in this series. This is also a map. Sorry, I have something in my throat. This is also a map where we see a lot of diversity in terms of team compositions. There's no one true comp to run on this map. You can see all sorts of stuff from Winston to even like Double Shield and Orisa D.Va and all the classics. And it's also where Symmetra is one of the more powerful, it's one of her more powerful maps besides Lijiang Tower, obviously. So I'm interested to see what these teams really come out with. And on the defense here, it's looking like Decapi-taters are going to be going with that Double Shield setup with Charybdis on the Ashe, so long range hit scan propped up with Orsted on the Tracer, so a bit of long range and also some short range power with the Tracer as well, and a very beefy backline in Baptiste Brig. I don't know if this is going to be the team composition that coming out on the side of the attackers as well for Rat Society, but right now they're kind of teasing also an Orisa based composition with Lifeline still on this Mei, which obviously has a lot more value on defense than it does offense. But maybe they want to bait out some, if they're expecting a dive composition, then this Mei Torbjorn would work out really well to be able to catch out some of these dive heroes.
Here we go right now for Decapi-taters on defense, looking to bounce back after that tough map 1. Rat Society moving their way to the high ground. on this Orisa Diva comp. They seem to be favoring it. It seems to be working out well. What a great halt, though, from Smugs. Is going to isolate out Jazz. A fantastic halt from Smugs. The Season 2 Tranquility MVP comes up big for the Decapitators. And an early kill onto the Baptiste is tough. And there goes Skirt as well. No supports now for Rat Society. Smugs is taken down, which is painful, but at the same time, Decapitators firmly in control on this first fight.
Yeah, if you're a Squirtle in that situation, you have to be watching for the Diva, for the Orisa halt. Obviously, if he had eaten that, Jazz wouldn't have been taken down to the low ground and wouldn't have gotten caught out like that, obviously. So, bit of a mistake there on the side of the off tank here, but now they're gonna go just straight up main, which I think is a very aggressive way to go, but it worked out in the end.
It's definitely, it's a gutsy move, and a lot of times you can surprise people if you don't expect that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it worked out well for them, but Charybdis has 3 shots right now on all of Rat Society on this Ashe, and there's a lot of Charybdis right now in the kill feed as he's piling on the damage right now on the Ashe. So Charybdis and the Decapitators look to be in control as Squirtle finds their way to the pits.
Yeah, and you can't be too mad about that. You did get 1.5 ticks onto that capture percentage, so can't be too mad at all, but you did also waste your Baptiste window to try to negate some of the damage coming out from Charybdis, and now you have double tank ultimates on the side of Decapitators, going to be able to hold on to this much more favorably now, and they're going to use them both right away.
That's a big ultimate from DNA, but it doesn't look like to really cause too much damage. But aggression is oftentimes so important with those ultimates. Just didn't work out there for the Decapitators. Rat Society now in control, pushing through this high ground, avoiding the halt for the moat. Yep, they fully avoid that halt. Yep. So right now, Rat Society finally has a full opportunity to get in a fight on their terms on this point. So Decapitators now investing the bongos as Smugs drops him down, and Charybdis takes a headshot onto Skirt. Orsted very close to going off the map there, but manages to stay on as well. But Charybdis, again, on the Ashe, is getting so much work done right now. With just the Baby Diva behind, it looks like Decapitators are going to ensure that they find their way to the ground below. But right now, Decapitators very much in control on this defense, and they have the ult economy to back it.
And also a minute left on the clock for Rat Society, so they're going to have to hurry here. Yeah, so far, Charybdis has just been on the firing range. It looks like nobody from Rat Society is contesting them. Not the Diva, not the Torbjorn. Normally, it would be another hit scan to do it, but since Torbjorn is a bit unreliable for those hit scan positions, it's going to be difficult. But Fulton goes down, but just a nice bomb from Orsted.
Huge pulse bomb finds both supports, and that's going to send Rat Society to cower into the pagoda here, as Decapitators will get an opportunity to reset up here onto the high ground and have an opportunity to perhaps push in, and they will take it, pushing in while they have no supports. It looks like Orsted trying to cut off the supports on their way in as well. Orsted pestering those healers in the back line. Quite the attack right now from the Decapitators, but it's answered by the sound barrier from Skirt. Skirt has come up big so far today. DNA isolated out right now. Many players very low for Rat Society as Orsted finishes off Lifeline, and DNA finds Skirt as well as Squirtle tries to look for any opportunity to get Rat Society back into this point as the overtime clock is ticking, and the damage is done for Rat Society thanks to that huge ultimate from Bark for Me, and it brings Rat Society back in, and they cap it in overtime, Rudy.
Yeah, that was a great beat also from Skirt at the beginning of that fight, because the Nagisa was so low, we're so close to the enemy team, kind of out of position in a bit, so they actually use the beat to engage straight onto her and they're able to take them out relatively easily. So I don't believe they even had the chance to pop the rally. I don't even know if they had it, unfortunately, but it's going to be once again a fast, aggressive push from Rat Society, and they cash out DNA and Charybdis.
Huge. You got the big attack there from from Rat Society, pushing into Decapitators. No fear right now from Rat Society as they continue to try to take it to him. The point is ticking up right now. Looking at 2 ticks as Smugs pops the bongos to try to clutch out here on the stairwell. And a bold play from Smugs will send some of Rat Society packing, as Smugs now able to attack from the high ground all alone. We see a split approach right now from Decapitators. And right now, it looks like the point is starting to slowly turn back into their favor here And we see the healers are getting a lot of damage out of the point, but Squirtle takes down DNA. The kill's now going in the favor of Rat Society as Smugs, the lone Orisa on the point right now, gets a little help from Charybdis, who finds his way to the ground with a huge Earth Shatter from Do What I Want, but it's answered back by the Battle Cattle with Smugs. Takes down 3, and that's Smugs clutching out the point for the Decapi-taters.
Classic 2CP moments where you really feel like, I mean, what a shame that we won't see this game mode in Overwatch 2. But I mean, the switch onto Doomfist here, and also Voltage just going up onto that high ground to be able to support Smugs and Charybdis on the point while they finish off the remaining members was just so crucial. And but thankfully, Rat Society didn't use up all of their ultimates in that last fight. They realized they were in a losing situation, so they kept their beat, they kept their Diva Bomb, and they kept their Torbjorn ultimates as well. And with this pick onto DNA, they have the opportunity to just isolate the members of Decapi-taters with the Torbjorn ultimate, the Molten Core.
And that's been so big for them so far in this matchup. And Smugs is backed into a corner, taken down here as Orsted also finds his way to the spawn room. The stagger is on now for the Decapi-taters as they try to stagger their way onto the point, but there's nobody left to stagger, and Rat Society takes it with 39 seconds on the clock. A very, very good attack with something that didn't look so positive early on. They were able to turn it into capping 2 points.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a really good attack. Some hiccups obviously on that first point, but eventually they got it through, and then 2 very aggressive pushes up onto the high ground on point B ensures that Rat Society is going to have a 39-second time bank going into their 3rd point potentially. So now it's going to be up to Decapi-taters, feeling the pressure a little bit to be able to finish Hanamura with a little bit, hopefully a little bit more time than just 40 seconds. We'll see what they have in store on their offensive push. And for Rat Society here, it looks like they're going to be going with a rush composition, actually. So no Orisa for them. They're going to be going fully into holding at the spawn doors is what I would assume they want to do. They want to hold, not the spawn doors, I'm sorry, but the big archway at the beginning of point A with the wooden arches. Yeah, that one. With the dragon symbol, the logo on it. They want to hold close with the Mei wall, and they're gonna have Jazz be on that Moira to provide extra sustainability for their tanks and their Mei player. And I think they're gonna be leaning into this Mei play very closely, as it has been working out for them all series long.
Has been working out really well. Lifeline has come up. I mean, really, it's been an all-around team performance for Rat Society.
Yeah, for sure.
They played outstanding tonight, and it's been really, really well played. Orsted pops the teleporter up to the high ground, up to the pagoda, which is going to put Decapi-taters now on the aggression from the high ground. We see a lot. It's going to be a tough defense right now for Rat Society, as Bark for Me lost their turret early on here. The wall is in on DNA, and he's able to get out through that window, well baited by DNA. And Charybdis now in on the Mei. They swinging the hammer around. Is Smugs looking to build up some ult percentage here, but he's frozen out. Actually, pardon me, that was Squirtle frozen out there as Orsted takes down Skirt. Losing your Lucio here is a tough spot for Rat Society, as Do What I Want charges in but pays with his life as Smugs finds the Earth Shatter, taking down Lifeline and charging through Jazz as well. And Decapi-taters will take this point with 3 minutes on the clock.
That was a situation where they got onto point quickly due to the Symmetra teleports, and then Charybdis with their own Mei pick actually just separates Rat Society off the point, causes them to get a bit antsy, which is why Do What I Want charges as soon as that Mei wall is broken down. And it was also a coalescence from Jazz that came out, but it was a perfect response from Smug. The team dodged it, Smug managed to get the kill, and also managed to get the kill onto the coalescing Moira, which obviously is a very easy target when she's in that ultimate form. But once again, an aggressive push with the Symmetra wall onto point number B, and so far they've got nobody to contest on that point except Do What I Want, but that's a huge shatter in response.
Huge shatter, a big shatter for Do What I Want, and Do What I Want does exactly what he pleases there. Fantastic job from all of Rat Society, but Do What I Want clutches up, only really needing those 2 ultimates, and they're going to have a Blizzard and a Self-Destruct to come back here. So Decapi-taters, they have a big time bank, but the next fight won't exactly be easy.
Yeah, it won't. You will have a Diva Bomb to maybe push in a bit further, and you will have Mei Ultimate. So if you want to delay this push onto the high ground, actually, you will have a fantastic ultimate to be able to hold it with very shortly here.
And right now, Charybdis leading the way in for Decapi-taters. They get a freeze on to Do What I Want. They push in with the Mei wall here, and there's the Blizzard as well, taking control of the high ground, but it's going to be answered by the sound barrier from Skirt, but Charybdis finds Do What I Want as Smugs charges their way out of the point, but now Smugs completely isolated out with that Blizzard, and the self-destruct from Squirtle finds Orsted. Decapi-taters are completely out of sorts right now as they're trying to push their way onto this point very recklessly, and they paid the price for it.
Yeah, there were two simultaneous fights going on there. One on the point where Smugs just gets solo ulted into oblivion, and then obviously the one that was still happening up on the high ground. Unfortunately, Jazz lost their life. They have to be going back to the spawn room, unfortunately, but it was Decapi-taters that were bailed out in the end, and now back to spawn room for them. They've got a couple ultimates to work with, including double tank ultimates, but they're gonna have to work against the coalescence from Jazz that has been built up pretty easily here on the side of Rat Society.
Here we go, Rat Society now in control. That Coalescence, a big ultimate, but we see a lot of ultimates coming back from Decaps as well, like you said. So there's a lot of potential right now for Decaps to clutch and take out this point. They're pushing through the alternate side of high ground as the big Diva Bomb comes in, but not finding any targets. But it did send Rat Society into a bit of a panic. But nonetheless, despite the panic, Jazz pops the Coalescence, gets on the offensive. Smugs uses the Earth Shatter, which puts a few of Rat Society on the ground. Kind of an interesting flipped fight here happening right now, and it looks like Decaps are slightly in control right now. They are completely in control, actually, as Smugs pushes through two of the Rat Society right now. They start beginning to put pressure on the point. The sound barrier now in from Nagisa, and here come the kills for the Decapi-taters as Danae isolates out Bark for me. Orsted now with the Dragon Strike, following up that bigger shatter from Do What I Want. The Blizzard, though, is huge for Lifeline, and it's going to freeze out so many of the Decapi-taters. And the Decapi-taters, again, a disorganized attack, and they pay the price for it.
They just couldn't get the members of Rat Society off that point quickly enough to be able to make any sort of conversions. Look at this. No ticks have been given up on Rat Society. They've kept their Mei alive. Squirtle has consistently stayed alive as well. I think it was Skirt that was contesting that point the entire time. These players were just consistently on point no matter what was tossed at them, and despite it was, once again, I think it was the Mei ultimate from Lifeline to just to finish that fight, that continued fight on. They definitely know how to use these, and I think it's getting, honestly, it's getting in Decapi-taters' minds. They're getting a bit annoyed here.
Bit. You can tell they're disorganized and frustrated right now with how this has been going. Smugs right now is back on that Reinhardt. He's got an Earth Shatter here, but he's pinned out, and a huge pin from Do What I Want takes Smugs completely out of the fight. But the kills right now, the kill feed is otherwise all blue as the Decapi-taters finally seem to get some positive momentum going. Self-destruct now in, and negated here by Squirtles is taken down now, taken out of the remake, pardon me, as Do What I Want coming back to the point, charging through but not finding a target, and Do What I Want is taken very low as Smugs is back in, has an Earth Shatter in the kit, ready to go as Decap's setting up here now for the final fight. 2 ticks now in the favor of Decapi-taters, and Smugs with an Earth Shatter at Squirtle coming through the gate, and that's going to seal it there for Decaps. 1 minute 32 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, this map is certainly proving to be as close as Lijiang Tower was, 2-2 apiece, with only a 30-second difference in terms of the time banks here. This could still be very much anyone's games, but we did see it was Rat Society that had trouble attacking into point A on their first go around. Hopefully they learned the lessons from that, because their strategy was basically to, go in a very wide path to the point. They wanted to go to the right, up the stairs, across the hallway, and obviously they messed up a few times, but they did manage to make it work. But when you only have a minute on the time bank for you, going into your third point here. I'm not sure if that strategy is going to work unless you execute it perfectly the first time. So they might want to do something a bit different here. They're not pulling out the Symmetra, however, so it probably looks like they're just going to take the fight straight on. Meanwhile, on the side of Decapi-taters, you do got that double shield lineup. Once again, it worked beautifully for them last defensive round. And if Charybdis has the same value on that Ashe as they did round number 1, this could very much not turn out well for the Rat Society. They might get caught out. They might get sent back to the sewers where they came from.
Might get finally sent back to the sewers here. Decapi-taters have had enough here, but it looks like, again, that double shield was so effective the first time on defense, held them to overtime. Bark for me now on the Torbjorn. I mean, there can't be enough set. Bark for me's Torbjorn has been an absolute menace for the Decapi-taters to deal with tonight, and that hero has been very, very strong for them. Charybdis trying to get some damage through the shields. Too much to deal with there. But Decapi-taters right now set up for a defense here. It looked like it will be just one fight here, likely going into overtime, potentially for the Rat Society. They're pushing right past Smugs to gain control of the high ground. A very interesting choice. But Orsted is completely caught out right now, and Orsted will pay the price. A very good, clean rotation from Rat Society. And the rotation is very bizarre, but DNA has isolated out D.Va. There's a lot of really strange, like, 1v1 fights going on right now, Rudy. It's a very bizarre fight.
Yeah, they're just practicing for Overwatch 2 at the moment here. Apparently. But main difference here, Charybdis is the one that goes down. Now there's not going to be any long range damage on the side of Decapi-taters to really be able to hold this point. And when their take players are both out of commission here, Smugs is the only one left on point. Voltage and them will go down shortly. So I think that was a fantastic rotation actually from Rat Society, because pushing onto the high ground there, they knew they were going to catch at least one of the two DPS players off guard here, and it just happened to be Orsted, unfortunately, that time. But that was a huge mistake from them, unfortunately. It is going to be Decapi-taters that have the ultimate advantage here, but it's Lifeline with the Blizzard, and if last rounds were any indication,
Nagisa goes down. That's
powerful
brutal.
ultimate. Oh my gosh!
But look at the ultimates for the huge flux from DNA. Just takes Rat Society entirely out of it, and that's a team kill, and that's it. So first point, though, that's a big first point take there for Rat Society. Puts all the pressure now on Decapi-taters to try to answer. So definitely a very winnable situation for the Rats.
Yeah, and if you're a Rat Society, I think you have to be expecting the Symmetra pick at this point, right? You have to be expecting, because they pulled it out round number 1, obviously, and that's a pick where you have a few options to go with the Symmetra teleport. So they already used one of the options, which was just to go straight up onto the castle that's on the right side of point A. So I think you can definitely expect them to once again pick the Symmetra and just pick another pathway for them to go down, and maybe you can potentially catch them out here. But maybe that's just me talking like I'm a 5-head analyst. Like, I'm not in the game with them, obviously, but that's definitely what I would expect. What I would expect them to do.
Absolutely. So a little bit of a different, I mean, right now for the Decapi-taters, again, we talked a lot about how they were the huge favorites coming in. There's been so much pressure on them to perform right now, and quite frankly, they haven't performed up to expectations. And so Decapi-taters right now trying to rally back, it looks like here, and they got a tough opportunity right now. Again, this is such a winnable situation for Rat Society, and they're taking a different approach here. And I love the fact that they're sticking with this Mei Torbjorn, because Decapi-taters, quite frankly, have not had an answer so far.
Yeah, not yet. At the very least, the Symmetra TP could make the difference here. We'll see where they want to send it. It is going to be the right side this time, so they will go up onto the little walkway up on top of the point. Smugs is just going to drop down here on Do What I Want.
Do What I Want is Smugs with a huge kill, and Orsted finds 2 with those turrets. So right now, Decapi-taters appear to be in control. Skirt tries to stay alive over there. They're going to try to keep the point alive. But right now, Decapi-taters are in control. What is going on right now? Oh, it gets isolated out, but there, Voltage B goes down again. Voltage has been taken down by Skirt so many times tonight. It's actually kind of crazy to see how much that Lucio player has been in control of Voltage tonight.
Yeah, but Orsted is staying alive, and they are finding the kills here with their amped up Symmetra damage here. And no matter how much Skirt wants to try to contest, they won't have too much of an impact unless they could get another boop kill. They will get tossed out by the Symmetra TP. And actually what's actually really bad here on the side of Rat Society is the fact that they're getting staggered out here. And despite the the respawn timers being a bit low, it's going to give them much less time to be able to set up defensively here. And with Symmetra teleporting straight to this left-hand side, they're going to have not a whole lot of time to react now.
Not a whole lot of time and not a whole lot of ultimates as Orsted invests the sim wall in. So Decapi-taters right now have a prime position here. We'll see how many ultimates they invest, and the sound barrier now in from Nagisa. Here comes the amplification matrix now coming in, and we see multiple ultimates now about to come up for Rat Society. Cribitus on that blizzard. It's going to be a critical blizzard, and it's a big one, but the sound barrier negates it from Skirt. And here comes the self-destruct from Squirtle, but they don't find anything. But Squirtle has killed Orsted, and a huge Earth Shatter from Do What I Want takes down Nagisa. Losing your main support here is tough, and there's nobody on the point for Decapi-taters, and Smugs just cannot get there. And folks, we are on a draw on Hanamura.
Yes, sir. Such a great response from Rat Society, actually, because they were, kind of down and out over that last team fight. They didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare, but what they did have time to prepare, Bark for me definitely had time to prepare their turret, plopped it over on top of that little upright part of the stage on top of point, and then went over to the left hand side to be able to pop in damage. So now you got 2 damage sources coming in, and despite the blizzard coming in to separate Do What I Want, it was a beat from Skirt, once again showing huge value. This Rat Society's team is definitely putting in the work, individual members, and Decapi-taters, even though they tried so valiantly, they just weren't able to get that last point, and unfortunately it turned out to be a draw, which we're all super excited for the draws. All the draws, won them all.
All the draws. So right now we are sitting in a situation that probably not a lot of people expected coming into this match, and that's currently sitting at 1-0 for Rat Society. Rudy, it's been a great one tonight, and we got at least 2 more more than likely 2 more maps to come. The question is can the favorites Decapi-taters answer back to the tough upset challenge here from Rat Society, or will the Rats continue to reign supreme today? We're coming back after 10 minutes here at halftime here. Stay tuned. More Overwatch coming up shortly. Welcome back, everybody, here to the Transcendence tier feature match this here, week 5 in stage 1 in Tranquility. I am Mr. Yeti again, joined by Rudy. We are staring at a result that a lot of people probably didn't expect to this point, and that's the 1-3 Rat Society sitting up 1-0 over the Decapi-taters at halftime. Rudy, the Decapi-taters have looked disorganized, but Rat Society has looked fantastic tonight.
Yes, yes, they have. They're definitely have been practicing. I think they're all kind of like taking after who's the rat in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? I can't
Splinter.
remember. Splinter? Yeah, I think they've all they've found their Splinter and they're really coming together. I think it's not just a team-wide effort, but also a bunch of individual hero plays that are coming out from Raz Society. I think Skirt's doing fantastic work on the Lucio. Squirtle obviously making fantastic use out of Diva's ultimate, getting a few remake kills and bomb kills as well. And then it's Lifeline, I think, on that May that has provided the consistency for their team. Not even in what they're doing individually as the May player, but just being there to set up walls, make sure that your team isn't dying. And obviously, when it comes time to use the ultimate, I think that is where Lifeline is really shining. But on the other side, Decapi-taters haven't been pulling their punches. Yeah, they seem a bit disorganized, but I think Smugs is still going forward as that aggressive main tank, definitely winning some fights on their own. Nagisa's putting in a lot of value from the backline as well. So Decapi-taters are still very much playing at the level that they usually do. I think they've just kind of been bamboozled. Maybe they were expecting to come into this match and have sort of an easy 3-0 win, but obviously that's not the case. And now they're gonna have to win the next 2 maps in order to take the win in the series.
A tough spot for the Decapi-taters looking for the bounce back here. They had map pick. They chose Numbani, which is not a commonly picked map because King's Row is in the pool. We know how people love their King's Row. But instead we head to Numbani, and there is a substitution now in for the Decapi-taters. DNA out, and Garrett now in. Garrett, the newest pickup for the Decapi-taters, now in, playing on that Diva here. So Garrett now comes into play. So a little bit of an audible right now from the Decapi-taters, trying to maybe change the momentum around coming in here to Numbani.
Potentially, right? And I wouldn't put it past them if that was the reason, for sure. And maybe Garrett has some stuff cooking up here that we haven't seen before. It'll be nice to see what they have going forward. And they do have this dive composition set up for their defensive side. They have the Mercy from Nagisa coming out to be able to pocket either Orsted or Carapatus, whoever one they choose. Meanwhile, Raz Society, they're coming out with very interesting composition of their own. They're going to keep this May Tour backline, kind of reminding me of, what was the European contenders team that made this composition really relevant, like the Torb Blizzard, like the Torb May composition. Clockwork Vendetta, there we go.
Clockwork Vendetta, that's
kind of reminded me of that a little bit, but it is Skirt that goes down first from the bombs from Carapatus.
The big early kill. Skirt been so effective on that Lucio tonight. Decapi-taters isolating them out and getting them out quickly, and Rat Society wisely looking to soft reset this immediately. That's a good move on their part.
Yeah, definitely a good move. You cannot push in with an Orisa composition unless you have that Lucio available. But now that he's back, Do What I Want is just going to pester the backline here.
And he's on the high ground right now. Smugs jumping back up, doing a little bit of tickling with that taser as the amplification matrix now from Jazz is going to force the Decapi-taters to run back inside. And Skirt and Carapatus decide, you know what, let's go to the spawn room together. And Carapatus decides, no, I want to be rezzed by the Mercy instead. Decapi-taters now 6 on the point as Carapatus takes down the Diva as well as Squirtle demacked. And that's going to send, again, Rat Society now in a tough spot. But Bark for Me finds Smugs getting caught out again. So Smugs now isolated out, unfortunately. And there we go now for the Decapi-taters. And it looks like Rat Society right now is in control of the point. Sorry, Rat Society is starting to put in control of the point. But Carapatus copies the May, trying to get that Blizzard up early. But now Orsted takes down Skirt as well. And my monitor just shut off here, Rudy, so if you could take it for me, that'd be great.
Yeah, it's okay. Nothing much has happened. The team fight pretty much powdered out there. I think it was just a bit of not much coordination coming out for the side of Rat Society. Squirtle getting caught off in that little tunnel area by Carapatus with that deadly beam ability that that Echo has access to. Now they're going to have access to Nano, which is going to help Smugs go in very aggressive without much need for support. And that's a huge anti, actually, from Voltage B, catching out a bunch of the members. It actually makes an early... Skirt has to commit the sound barrier really early on here, but Do What I Want has control of the high ground now. They popped down the bongo and also the window, but they're not finding too many players to take advantage of the extra damage. Smugs contesting Do What I Want on the low ground here, and Do What I Want is actually going to be caught out by the immense amount of damage, and then just individual dives from both Smugs and Carabitas are going to take out this remaining Rat Society team. So their plan, it looks like their plan that they wanted to execute was getting that Orisa onto the high ground and then popping those ultimates, but it just didn't work out. There was just Smugs and the rest of Decapi-taters just went back and just weren't in the sight lines enough for them to take advantage of those extra ultimates. But now, however, it's going to be Rat Society with only 1 minute left on the time bank, going to be swapping over to the double bubble composition here. And they do have a little bit of ultimates, but their DPS have actually stayed on this May Torb DPS lineup, which isn't too good with this dive tank line that they have going on now. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they use their ultimates now. Carabitas just waiting to copy somebody with the Echo here.
Secondary monitor is back in play now.
Hey, look at that.
And it looks like Decapi-taters still in control here. Excellent single play call from Rudy, I have to say, but Decapi-taters now in control of this point, and the last gasps of the Rats onto Numbani point A, but it looks like Decapi-taters will clear out the pests here on Numbani with the full hold.
Yeah, so like I was saying, what happened there was, they couldn't get too much value out of that Orisa composition on that offense, and so they swapped over their tanks to these dive heroes, but they wanted to hold on to the Blizzard and the Torbjorn ultimate, the Molten Core, so they just had their DPS players stay up on those heroes, even though, the synergy is off at that point, right? And they couldn't get too much value out of it. Meanwhile, on the side of Decapi-taters, they played everything perfectly. Well, maybe not perfectly, but they played it well enough to be able to hold on to that first point. Yeah. And now the pressure is on for Rat Society. They need to make sure they do not give up a single tick here on their defensive side. And it looks like now, finally, they're going to be going with the dive combo, and Lifeline unfortunately has to switch off of the May.
Now, to everybody here, I could say, relax and unwind with the legendary organic oil of Old Glen Whales, apparently. That is an advertisement that I've never noticed and I'm mildly frightened by, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. But fantastic production from Laggy.
Drink?
But they apparently drink oil, which I guess
it's oil. No, okay, that makes sense.
Makes sense, but like...
What do they do from the mouth?
I am very confused. I wish I could
be just more efficient.
I wish I could read the text underneath that. If the pixel rate was a little bit higher there, that'd be nice. But you know what? We'll take what we can get.
It says 23L is real. Actually, that's what the text says.
Very well, very well. Well, here we go now. Decapi-taters on the offensive with this dive composition, and
just boop them off the high ground.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue with the effectiveness there from Skirt.
Yeah,
and you gotta appreciate that. But Decaps now have the high ground control. Looking for a window of opportunity. You got to imagine they're looking to see if that Ana, because that Ana is a very juicy target and is brought very low by Carabitas with a fantastic collection of sticky bombs, but not able to connect with them. Decap's taking this very, very, very slow, Rudy.
I think they're just feeling out where all the individual players are, just trying to decide which target to go after first here, and it is going to be just the front line here. They want to pressure that front line and get out maybe some of the abilities, probably, who knows.
Yeah,
but they're building up ultimates either way.
And Rat Society is doing a really good job of just repelling the dive. Every time it seems like decaps are ready to push in, the Rat Society is bouncing back, but the front line is very low right now for Rat Society, and we see Do What I Want taken down, but Charybdis dropped as well, and Orsted, kind of inexcusably on the point alone, gets crushed by Bark for Me, and now Garrett pushing up to the high ground right now, trying to clear some space, but here comes the nano boost onto Smugs. It looks to head up to high ground, but he gets booped down again. Skirt on that main support has been fantastic tonight, and that entire nano boost is essentially wasted there on Smugs, and Bark for Me right now has that molten core, and it's been good for them all night, and we'll see if it happens again. But Bark for Me again finds another kill, and here comes Rat Society bouncing back on defense. Orsted, however, finds the sticky bomb, and the fight continues as decaps refuse to give up this point, or give up this attack, pardon me. And Smugs pushing right now on that attack, but not able to connect with anything. And it looks like they are going, ooh, uh-oh, Do What I Want, no. Do What I Want.
Wake up, wake up.
No. Oh, no, bad time for a nap for the monkey, Rudy.
It was definitely, and that's actually going to give them so much leverage now to attack onto this point. Nagisa pops the rally to be able.
Oh,
but that's a huge blow spot from Lifeline that takes out the rallying and the Echo. That's so much damage lost on the side of Decapi-taters here. Lifeline does go down, but Smugs goes down as well. Skirt is just a powerhouse menace on this main support row. The Nano's actually committed onto Orsted. That's definitely going to put in the damage here. Ana is so low. There's no way to survive this. Stick onto Bark for Me. I think right, like it has to be done at this point, right?
You have to be kidding me, Orsted.
Okay.
That's the Season 1 MVP of Tranquility coming up with a huge solo deadlift there at the end to pull Decapi-taters out of a disadvantaged fight. They get the nano from Voltage, and they absolutely take control on their own. Orsted gets that nano, and watch him go to town here. Finds the one clip onto the Brigida, takes out the Ana coming down from the high ground, finds a crazy stick on the Bark for Me. That's a wild play from Orsted to clutch up that fight.
Yeah, if they hadn't found that pulse bomb, Bark for Me potentially had a lot of time to delay even further on that point, even more than they already had. So that obviously crazy play from Orsted, definitely. Yeah. But it was close though. The sheer amount of stall that Rat Society was getting on that point, even with the picks onto Smugs and Charybdis to start off the fight. So still gotta give a lot of credit to Rat Society for being able to hold on. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we are at the final map here. Whoever wins next map is going to win this match. And even though for Decapi-taters, it is going to be just their first loss in this split, it's still going to be huge, especially if they want to continue to stay at the top of the rankings in this Transcendence tier, and it will definitely give them a boost going into next split.
You know, it's a big momentum change right there for Decapi-taters, no question about it. But they needed that one. They needed that one bad, and they needed to kind of bounce back in a strong kind of statement way there. But even then, Rat Society, like, despite the kind of rough attack, their defense wasn't exactly folding over there either. So Decapi-taters still have some work to do. They've got a tough situation right now to bounce back in this one. We're kind of waiting to see what map Rat Society ends up going with here. But we got one map to kind of settle the score here between the upstarts, Rat Society, and the favorites, Decapi-taters. But I mean, in the end, Decapi-taters come up big with that map. But I have been so very impressed by Rat Society. I kind of up and down the roster between Bark for Me and Squirtle and Skirt. They have been outstanding all night, Rudy, and it's been kind of eye-opening to see really a team that I think nobody knew what to expect coming in here, making a strong statement. And, you know, despite kind of where the standings are right now, if you take a look at the standings, you know, they have a tough kind of schedule ahead of them. They have Puerto Rico, who is ahead of them in the standings. They're playing Uzumaki right now. We're kind of watching that score because that is a big score for them. If they manage to, if Rat Society manages to win this and Uzumaki manages to beat Puerto Rico, Rat Society can squeak out of the elimination pool. So there's a lot at stake here for Rat Society to squeak out of that elimination pool next stage. But they got to come up big here against Decaps, and they got to win this map. Decapi-taters already locked into A pool, really not playing for anything other than staying at the top of the standings. You know, for Decaps, it's a big opportunity for them to get 5-0. But you know, Rat Society, they're playing for quite a bit here.
Yes, and this final map will be Havana here. Map we haven't seen a whole lot of, to be completely honest, and not a very popular map, but it is going to be the one that's locked in on the side of the Rats. And wouldn't you be surprised, once again, they are going to go with their rush with the May and Torb. Bark for Me obviously put on a phenomenal performance last map, and they're going to be expecting to do the same once again with this Reinhardt and Diva tank line. Meanwhile, on the side of the defenders here, the Decapi-taters, they want to stay ahead in the standings. They've got the double shield lineup with Orsted. It's going to be Orsted this time, actually, on the Ashe role instead of Karabetis. So switching things up just a bit so that Karabetis can be on this Hanzo instead. And I think this is going to be pretty good against this Maid Torb setup, as long as they manage to deal with Torbjorn's turrets effectively and, you know, shut them down whenever they're laid down, and also make sure that lifeline on the Maid doesn't get too close to, you know, obviously their backline.
Orsted has a fantastic history as a hit scan in Tranquility. Was actually our first Widow 1v1 champion way back now, almost or just over 4 years ago, which is crazy to say, by the way. Just over 4 years ago was the first Widow 1v1 champion, so there's a lot of history there for Orsted on the hit scan. But right now we see this brawl composition, this Torbjorn brawl, because Bark for Me on the Torbjorn has been an absolute menace all night, and I think Rat Society knows that. But isolated out on the cart, a really strong push here from Smugs and Orsted onto the point, but they can't find Skirt, and Smugs gets caught out, but he is going to manage to weasel his way out of there, just barely. Jazz very high up in the air, almost punished for that. But right now, Decapi-taters are on their back feet, or on their heels, trying to hold back this relentless aggression from Rat Society.
It is Skirt that gets got down first. Go ahead.
Here we go with the kills finally coming in, and the great halt there, grouping up all of Rat Society for Voltage. Who needs DPS when you have Voltage on the Zenyatta, just putting the Orbs of Destruction to use? And Voltage now builds his way up to Transcendence, more than likely on the backs of some of that ridiculous damage that he was doing.
Yeah, they were putting in a lot of damage, doing a really good job, actually, of protecting Voltage to make sure, because they're obviously the most susceptible to, you know, taking damage and being knocked down first. They're the dive target, but with this rush composition, it's a lot harder to do so, obviously. Bark for Me actually just sitting back here and manages to catch Karabetis, actually, with that little lineup that they had here. Now Orsted is going to be just sitting up on high ground, find lifeline, but they're still at a one-man disadvantage.
A one-man disadvantage indeed, and right now it's kind of a trade-out though. Right now, Smugs trying to get this one turned around, but DNA, pardon me, on the Sigma comes in with a big lift there, and they manage to isolate out Skirt, but Skirt is going to get the sound barrier off as well.
Yeah, sound barrier comes out. It's going to allow them to continue to stay on this card. Karabetis does go down, but it is the Dragons that are committed here, and just so many ultimates. Actually, I don't even think that Bob was needed. It was kind of a panic ultimate from Orsted as they were being chunked down by Jazz. So that is one ultimate that Rat Society managed to get out, but they are so close to getting this first point as well. Getting this first point is going to mean so much to them, because it means you're going to be able to play this Reinhardt composition on point B, where it's a lot more effective than on point A. They're making it work somehow. However, Bark for Me is going to have to find some crazy value with this Molten Core. But if his previous performances are any indication, they'll find some way to do it.
Amplification Matrix in from Nagisa, and they find Do What I Want there and take them down. But Lifeline takes down Smugs, and all of the tank line now down for the Decapi-taters, and they're slowly, one by one, falling on the point, and they do relinquish point one of Havana here, as 3 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock for Rat Society as they push here into the distillery at Havana.
Yeah, and this is still somewhere that Voltage can get some value out of, but obviously the reduced sight lines means that they're going to have to play a bit more passively and, you know, really try to... Their opportunities to get these damage boosts in are going to be minimal, as in comparison to point A, obviously. It looks like Rat Society is actually going to be taking the fight onto this right-hand side with just skirt here on the points to be able to push it, but it's Reinhardt actually, do what I want, chunking down Smugs, has to retreat here and will not escape, but it is the Immortality Field actually that comes out and the Transcendence.
Huge plays right there from Decapi-taters to keep themselves in this fight, and they look to turn it around with a big halt. The Immortality Field now down for Jazz, as well as Voltage on the Zenyatta continues to be a menace right now for Decapi-taters. Charybdis now sitting with that Dragon Strike, looking to turn around. Bark for Me takes down Voltage, but here come the ultimates now for Decapi-taters as they turn it around, and Orsted doing the work on that Ashe so far here on this map. But with 1 minute to 55 seconds, Rat Society's pushed about halfway to point B.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad push whatsoever. Was a bit aggressive onto Smugs there on the Orisa, but they got the punishment there. Okay, Smugs just kind of shooting the corner there. Okay. I apparently didn't like that corner very much.
No,
but,
I mean,
okay, it's taken care of now.
I understand it. I feel it. But moving on, here we go. Do what I want now. Going to the high ground. He has that Earth Shatter in hand, so they will be looking for an opportunity to get that one in use. So do what I want. But Squirtle, Demek taken down and staggered out a little bit there as well. So Charybdis right now sitting with this ultimate. They have the halt and the Dragon Strike on hand, and you got to figure they're looking for an opportunity to use that. But right now, it looks like Rat Society is just, they're content to play this slow.
I mean, they have to, right? They're waiting for Squirtle to come back on that Diva, right? So it is going to be Decapi-taters just kind of sitting, waiting to use this Halt Dragon combo. They got other tools to work with as well as this Orisa boost. And Do What I Want actually has to drop down to the low ground here, but they're doing a good job of trying to catch out DNA here.
And Squirtle with the Diva Bomb, not finding any targets. The healers are all down now, though, for Rat Society, and that's a tough spot to be when you got 30 seconds left on the clock. Stagger is still trying to come in here for Decapi-taters, looking to find a way to pick off any final targets here. Bark for Me brought low, but manages to get out nonetheless. Orsted very close to a Bob. There's 4 ultimates on hand here for both teams, and we are going to see a lot of the letter Q here in the next fight here, Rudy.
You know, just spam it. Run a script that presses it at inhuman speeds, and you'll probably be able to win this fight. But it is going to be both the damage boosting abilities, ultimates dropped down really early, and the Do What I Want is just going to get chunked down.
Huge kill right there, but here comes the Transcendence now from Voltage to try to keep their team up through that Molten Core. But Do What I Want with the Earth Shatter will take DNA to the ground. But Do What I Want has way too much pressure on them with that Discord Orb. They can't push in as Orsted now finds 3. That's the Season 1 Tranquility MVP coming up big at the very end of that for Decapi-taters. Rat Society does get halfway through point B, but it's a tough now defense waiting for Rat Society against the Decapi-taters, looking to find their way back into this match.
Yeah, Rat Society on that point B, even though the Reinhardt composition is a bit easier to pilot with, you know, the different levels and being able to have some amount of cover, it's still very difficult to pull off. And we saw multiple times on point B that even though they wanted to rush towards a singular target, whether it, you know, was DNA or Voltage B who were posted up on, you know, different high grounds, their team every single time was split up, and that just allowed for Orsted on that Ashe roll to just feed into them with, you know, the dynamite damage and also just the individual headshots and such. And we saw it was just so sloppy all around from Rat Society. So we're definitely starting to see cracks in their facade, but it is going to be them now on defense. However, where once again, like I say, it's a bit easier to pilot these Mei compositions if you use them effectively. Bark for Me actually not opting for the Torbjorn this time around, instead going to be going for the Hanzo, a bit more long range, a bit more well, not consistent, but definitely much more powerful in terms of damage. Sure. And then here we see Smugs potentially going for this Wrecking Ball setup, which might be pretty powerful actually against this much more passive rush composition here.
It can be for sure. You can kind of take an off angle here, like exactly what he did. Now look for an opportunity to get in. This is actually a kind of a good position right now for the Decapi-taters.
Oh.
We'll see if they manage to turn around. And Smugs comes in with a big boop, and it's going to isolate out Lifeline, who is taken down. Voltage dropped as well, but the spawn advantage is heavily in the favor of Decapi-taters on this close hold. And now Charybdis now trying to find an opportunity to get some damage in onto the tanks. There's so much shield blocking the way, though. Orsted find some arrows from Bark for Me. So Bark for Me now sitting with a couple kills of their own, but Decapitators right now regrouping with 6 as Smugs rolls onto Cart, and Voltage takes down Bark for Me as well. So we see Carnage, I'm sorry, pardon me, we see Rat Society now on their heels as Decapitators will manage to clear out this close hold. But with the close hold, you always got to love the fact that you get a minute off the clock.
Yeah, you do get a minute off the clock very effectively there through some good headshots coming in from Bark for Me, right? But obviously it's just going to be a minute. They're going to be able to push into the first corner here very easily, and they're actually going to be able to take advantage of having that high ground where they can push much more effectively around these 2 corners that they have Carabitas just set up on the high ground here. And actually it's Do What I Want that switches over to the Orisa now. It's going to be much easier to deal with the Wrecking Ball, and Orsted is the first one that goes down.
Orsted dropped there, and that's a big kill for Lifeline. Carabitas now on this high ground, though, is going to have a nice opportunity to push in and put a lot of damage into that tank line. But here's a Skirt kind of negating all of that. And now the whole DPS line is down for Decapitators. But nonetheless, they continue to press on with Voltage, pushing the fight right now. And Decapitators probably inexcusably using some ultimates there that they didn't need to. But Voltage and Smugs are somehow still in this? And they managed to find 2 kills. But it looks like finally they will go down as Smugs tries to squeeze out. It does not look like they will quite be able to do it. Oh, no, they will.
Yeah, but it's actually Jazz is the one that goes down, so they're going to have to run back to point really quickly here. But Smugs is already on this position. They respawn so fast, and they're able to get to point so easily here. And so now they're going to have to back up on the side of Rat Society here without their main support. But it's Nagisa that goes down first.
That's the second time we've seen Lifeline find these crazy early kills, and Lifeline finds a second kill. It's just been, Lifeline has just been a difference maker right now for Rat Society. They continue to make life difficult for the Decapitators. Kind of, the patience level from the Decapitators is not quite there right now, and it shows.
Yeah, Smugs has to back off into the back line here. Only 1 minute left here available, but you do have the Grav Dragon combo, although it is a different Grav than what is normally acceptable for that combo. Smugs goes down early, though. Wasn't able to keep it together long enough to have the patience to just stay in the back line. Oh, but a double kill from Carabitas.
Huge. Carabitas clutches up in a big way for Decapitators when they needed it. Finds 2 kills, takes out the Immortality Field as well, but is now taken down by Bark for Me. Jazz now dropped as well for Rat Society. Rat Society still in this one, but it looks like Decapitators will finally be able to close out the first point here after the long stagger, and it might actually allow Rat Society to maybe get one more touch in here. Maybe.
No, I don't believe so.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it's going to be point A for sure. And now they only have to get halfway through point B for them to win this series. It's going to be Rat Society now on the defensive a bit more here. They do have some ultimates to work with, like Orisa Bongo and Beat as well. Very defensive, as well as this Molten Core. But an early window from Nagisa is going to push back some of the aggression, actually. They're very aggressive. They're just straight up on the point here.
They are straight up on the point here. The aggression caught the Decapitators completely off guard, and Do What I Want forces Decaps back into spawn. But where's Orsted going? Orsted looking for that sticky bomb, and Orsted's been very potent with that sticky bomb. Sitting 25 health down, he doesn't care, not one bit, but trying to find maybe an opportunity to squeeze in there. Smugs now on the Orisa, gonna push in with this double shield composition, trying to maybe get a more favorable outlook here with that really tough Torbjorn. That's been a problem for them so far today. And a big stick in from Orsted, manages only to find an Immortality Field. A DNA taken down again by Skirt. So again, Skirt on that Lucio has just been an absolute proponent of chaos for Decapitators, but a big kill now with Lifeline taken down by Orsted. We see the Immortality Field used as well as the Transcendence, and this will enable the Decapitators to begin pushing in. They're working their way through that support line right now, but 2 down now for Decapitators as Bark for Me and Jazz takes down 2, and that's a big couple of kills right there. The Squirtle now dropped finally, the Baby Diva out of the fight, but the sound barrier now in from Skirt as they're looking to turn this around. Despite being down in the fight, they are not giving up on this. Skirt trying to duel with Voltage here. Who will come out on top? And it's Voltage with a little help from Nagisa on the side. We're coming down to the point here. The golden box of victory is in sight. Decapi-taters right now are in position to take it. And we see the stick again from Orsted, but it only finds in Orisa, not finding any kills, but Orisa very low. The Blizzard now on the point here from Lifeline. Here comes the window from Nagisa, and the Decapi-taters getting the kills they need. It looks like to clutch this out. It was not easy for the Decapi-taters tonight, but they will finally take down Rat Society and win this match in a 2-1 score.
The fries are the ones to come out on top. Sorry, I was trying to think of something funny to say. That
it's all good.
French fries, potatoes, not sure here, but I mean, you got to give it up to this Decapi-taters team. Already, they were looking strong heading into this match, and even though they were down with technically a 2-map deficit, obviously they knew they needed to win both of these maps for a chance to win, for even the slightest chance to win the series. Voltage B coming out with some great heroics on that second point, especially. Oh, very nice percentage kill participation. Give a clean sheesh for that. That's a nice percentage right there. I won't even bother saying it, but it's pretty nice, pretty nice. But I mean, like their heroics to be able to come up with the clutch when Orthis and Carabitas was the deciding factor, I feel like, in that fight. And I just really, I mean, even though they lost, Rat Society, you have to give it up to them as well.
Exactly.
They had some really good ideas here. Non-Numbani, not so much. Okay, we can forget about Numbani, but here on Havana, which was their map pick, obviously, they had some really nice ideas on how to defend with their Reinhardt Orisa compositions and how to utilize their May Torbjorn DPS duo to its full effectiveness. And even though it didn't work out in the end, I saw sort of flashbacks to that Clockwork Vendetta team from so long ago that made the Torbjorn May composition work, and I just got to give hats off to that. I mean, I literally have a hat on right now, so I mean, hats off to that for sure, for piloting that composition so effectively. But it is going to be Decapi-taters taking this series 2-1.
Rat Society, a fantastic showing tonight from a team that's 1-4 to come out, or now 1-4, I should say, to come out and make a big difference tonight. You have to give a ton of credit to what they were able to put in tonight as well. A huge night overall from all of Rat Society. I was really impressed with a ton of their players. Rudy, was there any one particular player that stood out to you tonight?
On the side of Decapi-taters, I think I gotta give it to the main man himself, or for the main person themselves, I should say. Orsted definitely coming out with the heroics on that Tracer role, on the Ashe as well, and even when they were put onto the Hanzo, definitely coming out. Really liked what I saw out of them. I was kind of biased. I was paying much more attention to the Rat Society players, but obviously when it came down to it, Decapi-taters, they knew how to play more like a cohesive unit. They knew how to play more like a team. So even if it was Orsted popping off in the kill feed, you got to give credit to everybody on this lineup for coming through, whether it was, DNA or Smugs on that main tank role as well. And even Voltage B and Nagisa lighting up the kill feed in the later half of Havana as well. So personally, Orsted, but all the other players on Decapi-taters were pretty good, were very, very well played as well.
They clutched up when they needed to, and they needed it most here, taking the last 2 maps against Rat Society. Definitely a strong showing for them. But as a reminder, we do have additional stuff going on right now in Tranquility. Tonight, again, or tomorrow, we do have our Discord tier feature match between Poseidon and Hammerhead that is taking place tomorrow here on this very stream. And then immediately after that, we have the Beat Drop, where we'll be interviewing 4 members of the community. And then again, next week, we have Tranquility's Event Week, where we are raising money for Project Hope in their Hope for Ukraine campaign. If you're able to donate anything, !donate in the chat. The donations are open, and you can also start challenging some of the content team to 1v1s that'll air on Monday. But as a reminder, on Sunday on this channel, we have our Team Fight Tactics tournament, the Tranquility Team Fight Tactics tournament. So you're not going to want to miss that as well on Sunday. So we have lots of stuff coming up here at Tranquility, and we're hoping you'll join us for all of it and get those Trank Bucks. The best way to support us, as always, is to hit that follow button, hit that bell as well, and if you're able to subscribe, of course, we certainly appreciate it. Big shout out to Laggy tonight on the production. A fantastic job as always. And of course, Rudy as well with a fantastic analysis all night tonight and covering for me when my technology went completely scuffed. But for everybody here at Tranquility, I am Mr. Yeti, and we appreciate you tuning in, and we hope you have a good night.